The other day, my best friend sent me this article, which says this 2 kilometre trail near Brisbane is a hidden gem with stunning sunrises and a scenic beer garden. I had to know more. Annoyingly, I missed first light, but then it dawned on me something else would happen that day at exactly 8:57 a.m, which gave me time to explore and film. My excitement started to build. The track that this publication is talking about is none other than the Jack Gordon pathway. The question we've got to ask ourselves is, could this be possibly the most beautiful track in Redland Bay? To get over here, you want to drive over to Sell Outridge Park in Redland Bay. This place is obviously very popular with the locals. I mean, I shot this at 5:45 on a Wednesday morning, and look how many people are already here. Now it leads out through here, and it starts off and you're walking past mangrove forest kind of thing, and it looks out into the bay. It's actually quite nice, this kind of red rocky kind of stuff. It's quite an unusual kind of landscape. The cool thing about this track is it has so much more than just walking along through like mangrove areas. It's also got things like this, where it's also sort of like a rainforesty kind of area. This track has a real peaceful feel to it. I can't wait to explore more of it. This rainforest section goes on for some time, maybe 300, 400 meters. There's ample seating along this walk, and it's quite flat, so you could ride a push bike along here no problems. Or if you were a mother and you were wanting to get out of the house with your children, you could quite easily push a pram through here as well. It's quite flat. It's quite lovely actually. Walk along here a bit further and you've got this sort of a beachy thing. It opens up from that sort of rainforesty area back there, and then it opens up out here, and you're met with sweeping views across the bay. It's actually quite lovely. It's sort of like there's a disparity. Like we started off our walk and we were walking past mangroves and an open sort of mud flats of sort of this sort of red gravelly rock and mixture of mud flats and sand. And then we walked into that sort of rainforesty area. And now we've sort of got our own beach kind of thing, and this opens out into the bay. It's quite a nice walk. Anywho, when I saw this bit, I absolutely kicked myself, because these trees here would frame the perfect time lapse of the rising sun, just like this. Not only that, but as the sun crested the horizon, it would cast a light trail across the water like this. On top of that, these trees would cast a shadow like this. This is what's known as leading lines. It directs your audience towards your target, which is of course the rising sun. But wait, there's more. Do you see these red gravel banks here? Well, as the tide ripped back or pushed forward, they would either be revealed or hidden, which would add so much more value to the shot. And this is what I'd missed out on. Bugger! Bugger, bugger, bugger! Anyway, let's focus on the positive. Onwards! This looks like a cool place to sit. So, if we look across the bay, there you'll see like an island. Apparently that's Snipe Island. Behind that is Garden Island, and the one over there with houses on it is Macleay. Over there is North Stradbroke, and that just there is Cudgee-Mudlow. Now, I've talked about the islands that are further up that way. I've talked about Mud Island, and I've talked about Peel Island. But it makes me wonder what kind of stories are down here, because I don't know much. From what I remember from what I was researching before, Cudgee-Mudlow was put on the map by Flinders. I believe he called it number 6 island.
But as he tried to come down here, he couldn't actually get further down from Cudgee-Mudlow. He struggled because it was full of reefs, and his ship was actually sinking. It had a leak, so they had to move up towards Bribie to fix that leak. So he didn't get actually down here. So I find myself deeply intrigued by the history down here because I don't know much about it. This could be quite interesting. Tell me if you want to see a video on any of these islands, and I'll do it.
I sat here for some time and just enjoyed the shade and the views and spoke to the occasional local. It was very nice. From here, the trail leads along more exposed bay and then leads out to an 18-hole golf course. So there's no real reason why one couldn't just have a round of golf and then enjoy this track from the other end. Another cool thing is that there's a pub over here too. So the pub is here and the trail is here. Then on top of that, there's the ferry terminal that goes to the islands in this area over here. And our trail is smack bang in the middle of all of these places. How's that for cool?
How are we going now? 8:04. Oh, that's much better. We're getting closer now. Giggity.
As I sat and cooked my breakfast, waiting for it to get to 8:57, my excitement was building and building. It was nearly time.
The time is upon us. So I was told some time ago by an elderly fisherman that apparently the best time to fish is when the tide is coming back in. So I thought I might check that out, see whether that's actually the case.
Apparently the old bloke lied. Either that or I'm a crap fisherman. But as I sat there, I became aware of something really weird. I kept on hearing a popping sound. Sounded like... I got it on camera too. Check this out. So I stood there trying to see what it was and became aware of a whole world happening beneath my feet. A world of crabs. They were absolutely everywhere. There were mottle crabs with purplish claws. There were little black ones, but it wasn't just crabs. As the tide came in, so did tiny little toadfish. They're about 2 centimeters long, and tiny other little fish. So maybe this old guy was onto something and I'm just a bad fisherman. Anyway, please like, share and subscribe. Cheers! Thanks.